This video was sponsored by Doomlings. Whoa.
Yo, what's up everybody? Chance from the game board here, and I know what you're asking yourself because I was asking myself the same thing. What is Doomlings? Is it a party game? Is it a family game? Is it a TCG? Is it a CCG? And the answer is yes. By the time you are done with this video, you will know everything that you need to know to be able to set up, play, and even expand your Doomlings experience. But enough intro talk from me, let's get straight to the cards. Okay, setting up this game is super simple. You need to identify 4 sets of cards only to start this setup. You need to find your age cards, you need to find your catastrophe cards, you need to find your gene pool cards, and you need to find all of your trait cards. Now, bit of a note. If you are playing with any expansions like we are playing here, you want to add those cards to those piles from those expansions right now. We are playing with the deluxe box that was sent to us from Doomlings, and so we have some of those in there, and we will talk a little bit more about what those cards do and what expansions mean a little bit later on. But right now, take all of the cards in those 4 categories from any expansions that you might have and put them in one pile and put them in front of you. We'll move on to the next step. All right, so the first thing you want to do is take your Birth of Life card and you are going to set that aside. This is a special age that you always start with, so you're going to set that aside. We got the deluxe box, like I said, and that comes with the mat here, so we are going to use it because it's going to make this look a lot better. So now we have all of the ages and we have the catastrophes. Now these are going to take a little bit of finessing. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. First, you're going to take all of your ages and you are going to make 3 piles of 3. 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to take the rest of these, set them aside. Hopefully you shuffled those. Now you're going to take your shuffled catastrophes. You're going to throw 1 catastrophe on each pile. These are going to be your 3 ages. And now you are going to take each age pile, give it a good shuffle. Now you're going to take all 3 of these piles, stack them on top of each other. 1, 2, 3. These are your ages with your catastrophes mixed in. They go in the ages section on the playmat. You take your Birth of Life, you're gonna throw that on top. All right, the last thing you gotta do is take one of these gene cards, give them to each player that is going to be playing, and we're going to set that to 5, basically, so you know how many cards that you are supposed to draw up or discard down to at the end of each of your turns when you stabilize, but we're going to get to more of that later. Once you have your traits, you have your ages, and everyone has their gene pool cards, you are ready to play Doomlings. Are you excited? I am. Now, like I said earlier, Doomlings is played over the course of 3 ages, and an age ends when a catastrophe card is revealed. At the beginning of each round, after each person takes a turn, you are going to flip a new age. Now, that age is going to do one of 2 things. It is either going to introduce something that lasts throughout the entire round until a new age is flipped, or it's going to give you a one-time event that happens immediately as soon as you flip the card. But after that 3rd catastrophe is flipped over, the game stops and we go to in-game scoring. More on that later, but right now I'm going to teach you how to read the cards so you know how to score and you know how to play the traits that will ultimately get you the points you need to win. All right, here's an example of a trait card. Now, there are a few things on this card that we need to talk about, but don't worry, the cards are pretty much universal. If you understand how to read one card, you'll understand how to read them all. They only get different when you start talking about expansions and things that add new mechanics, but for the base game of Doomlings and for the majority of the expansions, just being able to read these types of cards will get you through. So the first thing you probably notice, and the most obvious thing, is that your card has a color. Doomlings has 4 color cards: red, blue, green, and purple. You also have these gray cards. They are considered colorless, and color really only matters for cards and abilities and events that interact with color. But a note, if a event or card or ability does interact with a color card, it does not count towards gray, even though gray is a color. it's considered colorless. And while we're on the subject of what is a color, here, have all of the colors. These are multicolored cards that sometimes come with the expansions that for the purposes of effects are all of the colors on the card. Right here, these are the points that you score when you play your trait card. Now, these cards do not have costs. Some of the abilities on the card may ask you to do something in order to play the card, but generally the cards do not have cost. Right here, you have an ability. If it has an ability, then this will tell you what to do, and the majority of cards Doomlings has are simple to understand. You literally read the card and do what it says. There's not a whole bunch of complex mechanics within the cards until you get into expansions. And right here is fluff. It does not have any bearing on the game at all, but 95% of them are hilarious. You should definitely read those. Now, let's get rid of that. That is a dominant trait card. Now, these cards have some special rules to them, especially to play them. They normally have a cost to get them out, but if they do not, they play just like any other trait card that you would play in Doomlings. You can only have 2 dominant trait cards on your mat. If you look at the mat, you'll see that there's a first dominant spot and a second dominant spot. Once you play those 2 cards, unless you play a card that lets you remove a dominant card specifically, they are there for the rest of the game. And they normally give you some sort of end game objective or bonus to something in the end game, or they're very devastating to your opponent. The second thing that is really important about dominant cards is that they cannot be targeted with effects, spells, anything that happens in the game that targets a card, even a color card. They cannot be moved, they cannot be discarded, they cannot be anything unless the card specifically says that it can do it to a dominant card, and that includes you. So be careful in the dominant cards that you play, because once you play them, they are there for the rest of the game. Turns in this game are very simple. They boil down to literally 2 steps. Unless something on the table says any differently, you are going to play 1 singular trait to your pool, and then you are going to stabilize. Stabilize means whatever your gene pool card is set to, you are going to draw up to or discard down to that number. Now, a few notes on the gene pool here. If you play a trait card that affects your gene pool, that effect takes place immediately. Also, if something were to happen to that card or any card that affects your gene pool, that effect resets or changes your gene pool back to what it was immediately. But when it comes to stabilization, you do not discard or draw cards until the end of your turn. Another thing you might run into, it doesn't happen very often, but if you cannot play a trait on your turn, you have 2 things that you can do. 1, you can draw 3 cards and skip your turn, or you can discard all the cards from your hand and draw 3 cards and skip your turn. Regardless, you do not stabilize if you skip your turn either way. There are a few things I want to mention about the cards before we move on. You have to be careful to pay attention to the symbols and things like that on your cards and read your effects fully to make sure that you are using the cards correctly. For example, this symbol here is an action card, and it only triggers when the card is played from your hand. This here is a out of turn symbol, and it means that you can play this card even if it's not your turn once conditions are met. Now, each player is going to take a turn, and when it gets back to the player with the first player token, we are going to reveal a new age. Now, if that age happens to be a catastrophe, okay, then a couple of things are going to happen. Number 1, if it has a gene pool effect, and it probably does, that is going to immediately take effect. Now, unlike the traits that might affect your gene pool, this is permanent. Unless you have a card or something in play that shields you from catastrophes, you are going to take that gene pool reduction, and it's going to be permanent for the rest of the game until you can adjust it with cards in other ways. Second thing, The effect underneath, like I said before, you're going to resolve that, and it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a one-off event that happens and then it's over, or it's going to be a lingering event that happens throughout the round. So you're going to have to wait until each player takes a turn again, and this is going to impact those turns. When a catastrophe happens, you are also going to pass the first player token to the left. Now, at the bottom of each of the catastrophes, there is a world's end event. You only have to resolve this if that catastrophe is the third one that's ending the game, and you only have to resolve that one. Now, because we shuffled up the catastrophes in the Ages deck, we have no way of knowing when the third one is going to pop up. But when it does, the game is over. The world is over. Everyone is dead. Everything stops, and we're going to resolve the catastrophe card just like we would any other catastrophe card. So we're going to apply the gene pool effect. We are going to apply the effect of the card if it is in fact relevant. Then the players are going to look for any cards in their pool that have the World's End trait on them that is denoted by this symbol right here. If your card has this symbol, then we resolve its effect. After all players in turn order have done that, then we resolve the World's End effect on the last catastrophe. Then after that, we move to final scoring. So if the last catastrophe adds or takes away any points, then you are going to add those points or subtract them from your score. Now, don't try to do all of the math in your head. Get something, write it down, calculator or something, because what you want to do is take the face value of all of your traits. You're going to have cards that have this symbol, but we're not getting to those yet. You're just going to take the face value of the cards in your pool, add them up, get that number. Now, these cards are also going to have this symbol. This symbol means that there's some extra maths that have to happen to determine that card's value. But once you get all of those values, add them all up, whoever has the highest score wins. But it doesn't matter because you're all still dead. You look good. You look good doing it and evolving, but it didn't work. You're still dead. And that is Doomlings. Me and Scoots really enjoyed showing you guys this game. And what? They should go to Doomlings.com. Okay, what? Oh, they got playmats and booster packs and bundle packs. Okay, and plushies. Okay, yeah. So go to Doomlings.com and you can get all of those things. This is Chance from the Game Board and Scoots from Doomlings signing off. We'll see you guys next time.
This video was sponsored by Doomlings. Whoa.